Well, folks, the IRS is in crisis. Oh my gosh. In this video, I want to talk about this. This is very popular, just came out here on CNBC about what's going on with the IRS here at the moment. And I also want to touch on this in this video because we don't talk about this a lot. You know, back in the day, I used to get tax refunds and whatnot, right? I worked at Quick Trip, and I want to explain like how you can get your refund the fastest if you're getting a refund from the IRS, and exactly what you should do, the things I used to do back in the day that helped me ultimately end up making more money, not making mistakes on you know, when it came to taxes and things like that. So I'm going to share a couple hacks with you guys here today. Hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And if you want up to five free stocks from Moomoo, check it out. That will be pinned comment down there. Moomoo is an up-and-coming stock brokerage here in the States, okay? So the IRS is in crisis. Here's what to know. As taxpayer advocate warns for potential refund delays in 22. This is for my 90% of people that watch this channel that are folks that are going to get refunds, right? There's probably 10% of you guys that watch this channel on a daily basis that you guys don't get refunds. You have to pay to the IRS. One, maybe because you're a business owner and maybe you didn't pay enough this year, or maybe you just make a lot of money and maybe you don't pay enough in taxes, so you end up having to pay some at the end of the year. But most folks out there, you end up getting a refund most of the time, right? The upcoming tax filing season is shaping up to be a chaotic one. The National Taxpayer Advocate on Wednesday released a report to Congress detailing processing issues at the IRS last year and offering a warning for this year's tax season, which will begin when the agency starts accepting 2021 returns on January 24th. Okay, so that's literally in like 2 weeks from now. I'm deeply concerned about the upcoming filing season, says Aaron Collins, the National Taxpayer Advocate. Paper is the IRS's kryptonite, and the agency is still buried in it. So yeah, you know, this is crazy for me to think because I've been filing taxes for like, I don't know, 14 years now or something like that. And, you know, I've always done it digitally. Like that's just kind of, I guess, my generation. Like we just started that way, right? Where we've always done it electronically, and that's the way I've always done it. And so it's just amazing to me that people still file paper returns with the IRS, but that's something that's obviously hurting them. In December, the agency had 6 million unprocessed individual tax returns and 2.3 million unprocessed amended individual tax returns, according to the report. That number is startling, right? 6 million unprocessed. That's crazy. It also had backlogs of 2 million unprocessed employee quarterly tax returns and roughly 5 million pieces of taxpayer mail, some from April. I mean, gosh, guys, that's just epic. I mean, like, I don't even know how they're going to go through all that. Like literally, that's just, you know, that's insane. Many taxpayers remained without refunds some 9 months after filing. I think my mom might be in that camp. Additionally, Americans visited the IRS's website to learn the status of their tax refunds more than 630 million times in 2021, a number that reflects deep frustration with the speed and efficiency of the tax collection agency, according to the report. Yeah, and like I said, I believe my mom's in that group that you know, she's one of those that files, you know, paper returns, and she's been waiting for some refunds and stuff like that for a long, long time. The IRS is in crisis and needs to apply resources to its core mission, processing these returns and paying the corresponding refunds, the Watchdog report says. So yeah, the IRS is in a mess. If you've, bottom line is, if you're filing a paper return, you got to understand you're putting yourself at a massive, massive risk of basically just getting buried. Because when you start going through the numbers behind this, it's like, oh my gosh, it's just a disaster. If you're filing electronically, the chances you're going to get your refund in a timely fashion goes up exponentially. But if you're doing a paper return, man, you're playing a dangerous game as far as that goes. How to avoid delays. The IRS is urging Americans to file their 2021 tax returns online and as soon as possible to avoid delays in processing and receiving refunds. Quote, planning the nation's filing tax season process is a massive undertaking. The IRS teams have been working nonstop the last several months to prepare for this, says the commissioner of the IRS. The pandemic continues to create challenges, but the IRS reminds people that are important steps to help ensure their tax return and refund don't face processing delays. The IRS anticipates Now, most taxpayers who file electronically, choose direct deposit, and have no issues with their tax return will receive their refund within 21 days. It is sending out letters in January that should be used to accurately, prepare returns. So basically, what this tells you, if you make under 100K, okay, you make under 100K and you file electronically, more than likely you're going to get your refund in 21 days. I think the human manpower that it has to be used for something like that is very, very low. From what I understand is they basically just, it's not even usually humans looking over these returns. What it is most of the time is it's just like kind of machines looking over it. The computer's looking over it, trying to see if there's anything weird that sticks out, right? Like let's say you had $100,000 in I don't know, income for a business or something like that, and you had $150,000 in expenses or something like that, that might be something that kind of, it has a little red warning, and then a human actually has to look at it and be like, wait, what's going on here? This is kind of weird. Or you had some super huge donation that was an proportionate amount of your income or something like that. Things like that could trigger definitely a human to get involved with it, right? But in my opinion, 80% plus, if not 90% plus of the returns are probably not even being seen by a human in any meaningful way, because there's just not enough people at the IRS to look over every single return and be like, let me see this line item. Oh, is this weird? No, that's so unrealistic. And that's the problem with the paper tax returns, is I think they have to do a lot of that. People should make sure they report the correct amount on their tax return to avoid delays. The IRS Free File program, which is available to taxpayers who make $73,000 or less in 2021, will open January 14th, the agency said. Now, I always used to file mine way back in the day with H&R Block. And, a few tips I'll kind of give you guys, okay, and what I used to do back in the day, and these are important, okay? The first thing is you want to get everything ready as soon as possible in terms of, thinking about, a lot of people do it so last minute, and it's like, most people get a refund, okay? So if you're going to get a refund, whether that's $500, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, whatever, right? Well, that's a good amount of money to you, right? So get everything ready as soon as possible, because you want to get that money as soon as possible. And when you're doing this, you're going to know roughly what you have for write-offs. You're going to know what you had for income that year and all those sorts of things. And you're going to be in a position where you can then use something like I used to use back in the day, which was like a H&R tax calculator, H&R Block tax calculator. And you can even Google it, H&R Block tax calculator, and what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to put in all your numbers, right? And you'll be able to get a rough number of what you're going to likely get back as a refund, or if you have to pay in, if that's the situation, right? Which is super helpful, because then okay, I'm going to get, those numbers aren't perfect, but it's going to be roughly that. Oh, I'm going to get roughly $2,000 back this year from the IRS, or I'm going to get maybe $700 back from the IRS this year. That is extremely helpful. So be prepared, because like I said, I remember most years when I was working at Quick Trip back in the day, most of the time I got a refund anywhere between $1,000 and $3,000. And so it was not like it was a small amount of money, especially when you're somebody like me that was making $50K a year back then or so, right? So you want to get everything ready as soon as possible. Heck, even back when I was working at Walgreens, I would get a refund of, $200, $300. And for somebody that's making, back then I was making like $8.25 an hour or whatever, that was beautiful, right? So get everything ready as soon as possible. The second thing is, as soon as everything's ready to rock and roll, file that baby, especially if you're getting a refund. Like don't wait on it, because most people end up filing likely in March and April, right? A lot of people are last minute. I always try to file at the end of January, beginning of February. That way I was out in front of everybody else that was going to come in the tax season, and I would get my refund before most folks got their refunds. So file that baby as soon as possible, especially if you're getting a refund. Like, there's no point in waiting. Like, you want to get on. It's your money, man. If you're getting money back, shoot, get the money. Go get the money. So number 3 is invest the refund as soon as possible. That's something I used to always do. As soon as I got that refund, boom, that money was gone. It was right into the, as soon as that baby hit my bank account, over to the Fidelity account, out into the market, whatever I was buying at that particular time. And so that's just kind of my tips for you guys. Hope you enjoyed this as always. Don't forget to download the Hungry Ball in your iOS and Android store now. Also, if you want those free stocks from Moomoo, check out the pinned comment down there. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Much love, and have a great refund season.